I'm afraid your friend till the end can't really bend. Here's your look at the brand new Mezco Toyz 5 Points Chucky. This Mezco Toyz Chucky Deluxe figure set comes with all the parts and all the pieces you need to create your favorite version of Lakeshore Strangler, complete with 4 interchangeable heads, 5 interchangeable arms, 5 interchangeable accessories, and 2 interchangeable chest pieces. Chucky can take on multiple distinct looks from different Child's Play films. Just before Chucky gets to the point, all 5 of them at least, let's grab the tape measure and see how tall the brand new Mezco Toyz 5-point Chucky stands. Not only is he going to be a small figure, but he's also, I think, asking too high of a price. This guy I ordered online from Entertainment Earth, and even not even Entertainment Earth, but other online sites that sell figures, sell this guy for around $35. Now, converting that to Canadian, because I'm a Canadian collector, that makes a figure like this about $48. Actually, to be exact, it was like $48.35, 35 cents. Not that 35 cents really makes much difference. That's only $6 less than a NECA Ultimate release of Chucky, at least because here in Canada they're $54. $6 difference, that's a bit steep when you're considering the 2 different lines. Either way, though, Chucky stands about 2 3/4 of an inch in height, or the figure is only about 7 centimeters tall. I guess seeing as I did mention NECA and all, I was going to slide over here the Chucky that we get from Mezco and bring in the Ultimate release Child's Play Chucky. Now, based again on Canadian prices, this guy would be about $54 here in Canada. So again, like converted over, this guy would be about $48, a difference of $6. Completely different companies approaching Chucky completely different ways. Now, obviously, this one benefited from having much more additional articulation, quite a lot of accessories, too. Mezco does release this guy, to be fair, with quite a lot of accessories, but still enough to be a $6 difference. You guys can let me know down below in the comment section if that's too high. Even though the cost is questionable, at least Mezco does offset some of the price by including quite a lot of accessories with Chucky. One thing that the figure has that NECA can't say that they had with their release is that he actually comes with a rectangular display stand. Granted, there's nothing really printed on the stand. It's just molded here in black plastic. It does have one peg here that you can take yourself your Chucky. And on the bottoms of his feet, he has not just one, but 2 peg holes. Kind of actually looks like a Sesame Street puppet. We just take the feet and attach them onto the provided peg, and now Chucky's got himself a little display stand. The fact that Mezco also calls this a 5-point line leads me to believe that they're probably going to be doing future releases, and I wouldn't be surprised if Chucky isn't greeted by his bride Tiffany in an upcoming release, and they're probably all going to use that same rectangular stand. Taking the stand off for right now at least, the figure also comes included with all of these weapons that he can wield, some a little bit better than others. You may be taking a tally right now and noticing that there is one missing accessory. That little tiny pistol I was trying to do my best not to lose at the beginning of this review when I was, taking it out of the tray. Anybody want to take a guess where it is right now? It's somewhere on the floor underneath me. Unfortunately, though, I've looked around and I still continue to look around and I can't find it. If I happen to find it, you'll see it here in Final Looks. If you don't see it in Final Looks, just make the assumption it's still missing. The figure comes included with, though, a small knife. Still, though, as small as it was bigger than the pistol. The knife blade has been molded here in gunmetal gray. The handle is a combination of both blacks and golds, and can be fit into his hand. Now, he has 2 gripping hands for this side of his figure's body. He has hand for already holding the knife if you want to have it upright, or if he wants to take a page from Myers, you can also have the knife facing downward. Just be careful you don't lose it, whatever you do. The figure also comes included with a slightly larger knife, putting the figure down here for a second. A slightly larger knife of a completely different design. This one has a broader blade, still in gunmetal gray. This one now has a brown handle instead of the black, and can again be wielded in his hand. This one you have to be a little bit more careful with, because when you put it in, you kind of have to put it on its side and then twist it around. And again, you just, whatever you do, don't want to bang it. I've banged this figure now a couple of times, and I've lost a couple of knives, but at least I found the knives. I still can't find the pistol. What he does also come included with is the meter stick from Child's Play 2. And while it doesn't have any markers telling us what centimeters and what inches, funny enough, though, he's about the meter stick is about the same size. Or is it a yardstick? I'm going to say a meter stick. It's about the same size, though, as Chucky. And again, you can take the meter stick and just slide it in between his hand like that. Unfortunately, just by the fact he doesn't have twistable hands like this, you can't bring the arm around and you can't have him holding it in both arms. Funny enough, though, I did actually change out one of the arms. That was something I did want to talk about a little bit later, but we'll kind of talk about that in a second. The figure also comes included with his axe. Now, the axe is nicely done here in a metallic silver. Luckily enough, the blade is not enough that it's going to be cutting any skin. The problem with the actual axe, though, is I can't get it into his hand. I can get it into his hand if it's on an angle, but if I want to have it facing forward, it's like the grip just isn't designed to hold this handle properly. It works okay with the meter stick, it works okay with the two knives, but yet I can't do anything when it comes to actually, it just isn't cutting it. I don't see what I did there. It just doesn't cut it when it comes to the axe. He does also come included with a bunch of swappable arms. Now, really, I should have started this review with the relaxed hand. I'm just going to put the figure down here for a second, because he comes included with basically the other hand, well, almost the mirror flip to this one right here. Although this one does have a trigger finger, this one is not. This one doesn't have it. I mean, this hand you could, I suppose, also use this for holding the axe. But again, like if you look at the grip, you really have to push it in there. It's almost as if the hands and the thumb, even together, teaming up to do this, just can't quite hold the axe. Like it holds it okay until you touch it, and then it just springs out of his hand. And that's probably one of the reasons why I was losing as many accessories as I was doing these reviews. But again, if you want to swap out the arm, now the one I've already got inside his socket is this pushing hand. I'd say it's pushing because it looks like he's pushing a babysitter out the window. You could really have the hand down like this, but it's so awkwardly shaped and posed like this that it only looks like it serves one purpose, and that's pushing people out windows. To change out the arms, by the way, is very easy. It's just a case of prying the arms kind of away from the torso, and these just pop right out. Super, super easy. And again, if you want to just pop the new arms in, just snap it in place. He also does have, I guess while he has one arm missing on the other side, he also has a bent arm, again, that has a grip on the end of it for holding any of the accessories we've already had a look at. Again, that just pops onto the side of his body. The one thing I will say, though, about the bent arm is I feel like it's a little too bent. Even if, for example, you take yourself the knife, which I'm sure is the intended purpose for this, sliding up into the hand, I mean, it just looks like it's way too bent. I would have maybe made it a little bit closer to his body. But again, if you wanted to have him pose like this on the shelf, hey, it still looks good. And then, of course, one other thing he also comes included with as well. Oh, I just dropped the knife. At least I know where the knife is this time. He also comes included with the knife hand. Now, the blade on the end, of course, like he has in the movie. This, again, you just pop the arm off. I know, it sounds more like a tutorial. And you see how easy it is really to change out the arms, just popping that off. Again, you just pop them out and just swap them out with the arm that you want to use. I guess what we're on really on the topic of this particular arm, the figure has a bunch of swappable heads. The defaulted head that he has, or at least the one I want to start the review with, is more just the traditional good guy. I couldn't help but notice, though, like paint for the most part is pretty good on this. The freckles are nicely placed across the face. He's got a little bit of rosy red there on his cheeks. Eyelashes are, one thing I will say, though, about the eyelashes is it looks like this one is kind of wandering a little bit away from the eye. Either that or these eyelashes are too close to the eye. You can let me know which eyelashes look closer to his face or which ones are the better printed ones. I still think that these ones are a little bit off to the side. But again, like if you want just a more traditional looking good guy, this one does the job pretty good. I think like the hair, for example, is a little too dark. But if you did want to have more of a possessed looking Chucky, and then there's also this head sculpt here as well. I got to say, I don't love this head. I think the problem with it is probably the mouth. It doesn't look as much like an evil Chucky. It actually looks more like a Chucky that smelt something and just didn't like the smell of it. Changing out the head, though, just popping this off, and then we're just going to take the large peg. I mean, these are all large pegs, so you have nothing really to worry about. The plastic's pretty good on these, too, and then just pops into place like that. So, again, you got your good guy face, you got your kind of possessed Chucky face. But to do one better, because of course he does have the blade arm, he does also come with the spaghetti face. Why do they keep calling it the spaghetti face Chucky? This one has the scar, though, on the side of his face. Very bloodied looking good guy. And of course he does have missing lips on the front of his face. I think it's supposed to be missing lips. It kind of looks like, or he has really swollen lips, like he just got surgery done. Again, we just pop the head off. We replace it with this body. Plop it in place like that. And again, you got yourself like the knife hand and the pizza face. One thing I also did do wrong, because I kind of been playing around with this figure for the last couple of hours, is that I did use the wrong torso piece this whole time. What I should have really been using at the beginning of this review was the more regular, non-stitched up version of his good guy coveralls. Because what I am using right now is what I was using earlier when I was playing around with the figure. This was really the coveralls better suited for like the Bride and Seed of Chucky face sculpt, which is also one that he comes included with as well. I guess while we're on that, here's what the face sculpt looks like for the Bride and Seed of Chucky, which has the visible staples and the scarring, the stitches all across the front of his face. Really nice looking head sculpt. Really, of the four figure head sculpts at least, this is my favorite figure of the Chuckies. And again, just to pop that out, now that we really do have the proper coveralls, I'll have to kind of do things backwards this time around. Popping the head out, and you can see, Yeah, this one looks a lot better with the coveralls that I had. Don't worry. I'll show you guys still how to change the front of his torso. That's one other thing that's swappable on the figure's body. To do that, by the way, it's just a case of popping the arms out. You really do want to remove the arms because it's going to be a lot easier to take the torso piece off. And see, as I did do this backwards, we're going to just pop the head off here. Now, to get access to this, what they've actually done is, instead of making the cut right down the middle, they obviously didn't do that because I think when you were to rotate the arms back and forth, it would only just ultimately start to separate the front of his torso from the back. So what they did instead, they took a detour around the shoulder socket and they cut it up at the top. Unfortunately, though, it's really hard to get access to the body. I found the easiest thing to do was take your finger and just use your nail. It certainly benefits those that have longer nails. I don't really have longer nails, but you're just going to get your finger in the top of the collar piece and you're just going to separate it. Kind of like whether you're separating muscles. I'm not a big fan of muscles myself, but just pry those off. It really does benefit also. You got to make sure the legs are further back because the legs are only going to get in the way of things, and you just detach it. See how the inside has 2 pegs and a peg down below? This has then the holes on the other side. Kind of looks like the face of a Cyberman from Doctor Who. Weird reference. But taking the correct torso, which I really should have started the review with, we're just going to line up the pegs on the top and the peg down below here. We're going to line up with the holes, and we're going to snap it in place. And again, you want to just make sure the legs are far enough back for that. Then we just rinse and repeat the steps of putting the arms back in. Let's just peg on one side. Let's take, where's the relaxed arm? Where's the relaxed arm? Here's the relaxed arm. We're just going to take that and snap it into place. And then we're going to take ourselves an appropriately, properly sculpted head sculpt that's going to go along with this body. This is the way I really should have started the reviews. Again, like changing out the arms isn't so much an issue. Neither is really the head. It's just this torso piece. You really have to kind of get in there with your fingers to pry the front away. And even though I really should have started the review with the proper coveralls, again, the difference between the two, the only real difference is the fact that this has a little tear on the side and, of course, the little visible stitch lines on the top. But other than that, though, it's pretty much the exact same coveralls. Funny, though, is when they first advertised this online, what they basically did was, I don't know if it was this way around, but basically they had a picture of Chucky, and then they had like all the accessories, and then they had the torso piece and all his arms. I immediately thought, is this one full torso piece? Like, I thought it was literally just this whole part, but just with the scarring. And I thought, well, if you get the extra arms with the figure anyways, and you get the extra heads with the figure anyways, why wouldn't they then give us extra legs? And I thought that Mezco was just being sneaky. Turns out they weren't being sneaky. It's not a complete torso. It's only just the front half. For the articulation on Chucky here, the head's going to rotate all the way around. The arms, of course, only rotate all the way around. There's no swivels at all in the hands. And the legs do move back and forth as well. So again, there's only 5 points of articulation. Bit of a steep price, I feel, again, asking that this guy's $34.99. But again, you could say as well that they did offset some of the prices by including all the extra accessories. The hardest thing for really being as a reviewer is, again, if I was to do just a straight comparison and say, okay, there's the NECA one and then there's the Mezco one, which would you prefer? I would recommend right away the NECA one because, again, it has the additional articulation. It bears a better, stronger likeness to Chucky, of course, from the films. It's just a nicer looking figure. But you can't do that. You have to kind of look at the figures for what they are and the merits for what they bring. And with the Super 7, like, retro figures that have the 5 points of articulation here in Canada, I mean, like, even like inflation for those are like $25 a piece. And that only has just a figure as it is on its own with only 5 points to swivel. That's all they have. And they're already $25. So for that, at least, like, if you look at it from that standpoint, Mezco, by adding an extra $10 on top of that, I guess it's not terrible considering he has as many accessories as he has. Keeping in mind, again, he has 4 interchangeable heads, he has a bunch of swappable arms, and he has the front chest piece that swaps out as well. You know, again, 35 is a bit steep, but again, for the fact that they throw in as much as they did, if it was just, for example, let's just move this guy out of the way. If it was, for example, just this guy on his own, and they were saying, selling this to the consumers at $35, I would say, hey, wait, you guys are crazy. I don't know what you guys have been into, but that's not a price that I'm willing to pay for it. But because he has all the extra things that we've already had a look at in this review, I think it does offset some of the prices, like I said at the beginning of this video. I think that Mezco, I mean, for $35.99, or $34.99, or whatever the price was that I ordered this guy online, it's steep, yes, but at least he gets extra things that go along with him. As we now move over to the rotisserie and the brand new Mezco 5-point Chucky. He isn't displayed with this pistol, so if anybody was wondering if I actually did find the pistol, I spent a good 10 to 15 minutes after the last part of this review just kind of looking and surveying the floor area around me, and I don't know. I can't find it, which hopefully means that if I can't find it, the cats can't also find it, because then I'm sure I'm probably going to be finding it in the litter box, and then nobody's going to want that pistol. I think for what we get here from Mezco, granted it's a 5-point articulated Chucky, is not bad. It's limited when it comes to disposability. It's certainly not making it up for in the price, because the price is a little on the higher side. But, you know, across the board, inflation is affecting everything that we're buying as collectors. It's not just Mezco. It's also the likes of NECA Toys, McFarlane Toys. Everything is going up. If we were looking at this figure back in 2000, we probably would be having this discussion. I would be talking about this figure being around $18 or probably even less than that. The fact that we are looking at this figure in 2024 means that at this point of the conversation, we're looking at a figure that's $35. Now, $35 again dollars, you're getting at least enough things: swappable arms, swappable heads. At least one thing that they've actually done is they've stocked this guy up with extra accessories to, again, offset the price of what they're selling him for. Now, with this figure also having easy to swap out limbs, it means changing out the parts on him and changing the head are super easy. It's not as easy, though, to change the torso. You have to get your finger in the top of his collar to kind of pry the front half of his body from the back half of his body. But at least you can alternate the looks from a regular good guy to the more scarred look that he has in Bride of Chucky. Although, even though I did do it wrong at the beginning of this review. What do you guys think, though, of this figure? Let me know down below in the comments section. Is the price too high that this guy's a total pass? Or could you guys still see yourselves wanting to pick him up? Now, if you are interested to pick him up, you can get him at Entertainment Earth. That's where at least I found him for $35, about $34, $35. Using as well that link that I'm providing down below in the video description will take you as well 10% off not only getting this guy, but anything that's currently in stock at Entertainment Earth. So anything that's currently in stock, as soon as you go to check out, whether it's 1 item, whether it's 12 items, it's going to take 10% off your total bill. That's not bad. You can save a little bit of money. But again, what do you guys think of this figure? Let me know down below in the comments section. What do you think is a more reasonable price that they should have been asking for this? Keeping in mind, again, like everything's going up when it comes to collectibles. Let me know. If you guys also as well enjoyed this video, want to hit with like. If you guys are loving the content you guys are seeing and you'd like to stick around for more, we may be wrapping things up right now for a limited articulation Chucky, but it's definitely going to be a lot more videos coming your way. Hitting that subscribe and turning on the bell notification, all those, again, things that I throw out at the end of this review, all help me, all help you to know, again, whenever new content's coming on this channel. As always, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.